Preacher here, covering the biggest Fortnite mobile update in recent memory, with Epic Games actually listening to our feedback about the joystick and the problems that we've been having. So let's cover this new update. Make sure to go into your settings and go to the HUD layout. So the first thing to note here about the joystick is that we have an always show button. So regardless of the other settings, we'll talk about them throughout the rest of this. But here we have this always show button. I had it on before. This is what it's going to look like if you take it off with just the rest of my settings. And it won't be on the screen in case you want to be able to see, but the joystick is not moving right now. So it's just there when you touch and not cluttering your screen when it isn't. Though it takes up the same regular area as it would normally, which means you need to touch in the same area as your regular joystick. Let's cover then the second setting change, which is Joystick Deadzone. This is a brand new setting for mobile. It comes on default by 10%. So if your game's been feeling weird recently, or maybe it has in the past, maybe this was the setting we didn't get to see before, that they upped our dead zone without us knowing it. So I set it down to 0 to show you these different things. And in just a second, we're gonna break down what dead zone is, how it impacts your joystick, traditionally in a controller sense, and show some of these differences. I'm going to suggest you play with a 0% dead zone unless otherwise needed, just because you want the most responsive joystick you can have. Right? This is very responsive in how I'm interacting with it, with a little bit of push and a little bit of pull. Here I'm going to show you what it looks like when you put it then all the way to the max. So 40%. That's as high as we're allowed to go for some reason. It feels much more stiff. If you can't tell by the gameplay, I'm going to play it also side by side and just showing some of these things in a second. But the joystick feels stiff. It's less responsive because you are lessening the area which it's sensing. You have to move the joystick more in order to do the same movements. The next setting that we're talking about is for the move stick being dynamic. This is what was pressed on before, and now we can toggle it. So if you have any questions of what that actually looks like, here is what a dynamic joystick looks like. It moves wherever you're touching it on the screen. It creates the whole left side of the screen to be a joystick. This is a problem for me. I know some people liked it, so if you wanted to know how to turn it on or to keep it on, that's how you turn it on. Alternatively, you can put the always show off if you like, and it will still function similarly to how we showed before, where you just press, but that it doesn't matter then with what you're doing. Right? You can press anywhere and it's going to come up, unlike before you had to press where the joystick is based on your screen. Here, it being dynamic lets you press anywhere, and that definitely has a lot of benefits. This next setting that we're talking about is one that's a bit more subtle, which is just animate dynamic. So this means instead of just appearing there and then just flashing back to its original position, it will slide across your screen. I'm going to show you here what this looks like. The next thing we need to address that came with this joystick update is auto running. It's been there, but it's been very convoluted with the dynamic joystick. You might be saying, Preacher, I can't auto run double tap like I want to. That's the default setting that most of the mobile players like. So let's address why it's not working for you. Number one is make sure it's set to always show. If you want to be able to double tap, you have to have this setting on. So if it's off, I'm going to try to double tap here. It's not working. I can still move my joystick, but it is not letting me double tap because the double tap function has to have the always show function on in order to work. It doesn't matter if you go into your settings and it says, oh, it double taps on, right? See, mine is on right here. It says it's on, but it's not working because it has to have always show. There's unfortunately two settings that need each other to work properly. So we put it on here and now it's working again. Double tap and we're fine. The other half of it is maybe you turn this setting off. I don't know, or, right? We said they need each other to work, so you need to make sure you go into your settings and check this. Even if you had it on before, if you have it off and you have always on, it's not going to work either. They need each other to work properly in order for this mechanic to function. So make sure you check your settings, make sure you put it on, make sure you check your HUD layout, go to the properties like we showed here, and make sure you tap always on your joystick, and then double tap to auto run will work for you. Connected with auto run then is this auto run lock zone. Now you saw I have it turned off because I hate it. I think it's horrible, but you might like it. And so for you, let's talk about it, okay? So if you want it, first of all, you need to turn it on, and then you need to go into your HUD layout, right? And you need to find where it is. Now, notably, these are the two other settings. Well, one technically that got changed, but one that's with it, right? You have two auto run lock zone move stick settings. The first is the zone size. Set it to max, right? It can depend on what finger you're using to do it, that maybe it'll be helpful. You can set it to far or away now. This is what is called zone padding, the distance from where your joystick is. I'm going to suggest for a lot of people that if your joystick's small on the bottom of the screen, you put it a little bit far away. For someone like me, having it too close can accidentally turn it on, and then I'm just going to be auto running and running into stuff. I don't like that. And that's what this looks like. So I would suggest putting a little bit of distance from it, but again, this really all impacts your HUD layout and how your HUD layout works. Just showing you what you need to do to change it. These are the different parameters to change it back and forth, the size of it, right? If you need a smaller button to hold your finger over, and then a little bit of distance. But this was added like we asked. And so now if you want to use this setting, I don't, but if you want to use it, this is how you edit it, and this is how you turn it on and make sure it's working. The last major change is about a hopefully bug, but it is unfortunate to us, which is the change in graphics quality setting for 3D resolution. Currently you see mine set to custom, and you have auto, but normally when you set it to custom, it would then show you a slider. We would use this for all devices to get better FPS, lower the resolution a bit so we could run better frames, and for lower end devices it was a necessity. Now it's gone. So letting you know it is a change in this update that it's gone. If you haven't noticed, or you've been wondering maybe your questions and you haven't looked into your settings, go check this and see, because if you're on a lower end device, maybe this is the issue with it. My duo Percep believes he felt some differences in testing it out in game. I could not get a conclusive yes or no based on the things that I was looking at. Another thing to note about this is both button options are here, right? Meaning auto and custom, and the explanations are still in the settings. This is why we believe it's a bug, because it says you can use it to set it manually, but then when it's there, it doesn't exist. Hope this helps. The last one that I feel is insignificant, and the reason why I feel it's insignificant in the settings is because I have no clue what it does. If you know what this is, you've stayed this long, please comment and let me know. I cannot figure out what reset stick means. It's just not doing anything. I tested it on every single option, dynamics with the animated thing, regular, always show off. I don't know what the reset stick position does, so please comment if you do at all. Thanks for watching. Check out this video YouTube recommends.